You know, you got to hand it to Carolina. They had a great season. All the way through, they did everything right. They checked all the boxes. Maybe they didn't get the superstar that they were maybe hoping to get at the beginning of the season. I know they got Ehlers, but, you know, they're still looking for that marquee player. But other than that, it's just about a perfect season for the Carolina Hurricanes, and they get rewarded with the absolutely awesome and completely underrated Ottawa Senators in the first round. That kind of sucks, but that's the way it goes.
So that's interesting. I think the Senators are rated.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
First, though,
I think it's the Hurricanes who are underrated.
This preview, by the way, is brought to you by Ontario Toyota dealers. Red Tag Days are happening now through the end of May. Go to visittoyota.ca. Build out your Tacoma. It's the most powerful Tacoma ever. It's got the greatest sound system you've ever heard in your life, at least according to me. It's pretty great. And, visit toyota.ca. Check it out. Okay, Steve, if you think the Carolina Hurricanes are underrated, where do you start with their underration? Why are they underrated?
So, and by the way, it's not me saying, the Sens are overrated. It's, I don't know, guys. The whole hockey world's been talking about how good they are for like 2 months now, like at least. Carolina won their division in a walk, and we haven't talked about them at all. And I think there's a couple factors there. People talk about Eastern bias. They're in the Eastern Conference. I think it's small market bias.
Okay.
So we ignore them. But also the Carolina Hurricanes are in a really interesting position where they're always a regular season juggernaut. They always win the first round, usually or sometimes get through the second round, but they usually fizzle, and they fizzle for the same reasons every year, right? So I think people have ignored them because they haven't been interesting. And that I don't mean that in that they're boring necessarily, but like we've seen this movie play out before. Sens walk in, and they're this amazingly interesting team that's had ups, had downs, a lot more downs than ups for a while. And now they're heading into the playoffs in a heater. They have these big personalities. They play this brash style, and everyone's kind of enamored with them. And the Hurricanes are just old hat. They're just...
Well, it's because the Hurricanes are consistent, and that gets boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, consistent can be boring.
No, Steve's exactly on point. Like, you forget about the Carolina Hurricanes because their regular season doesn't matter because they've been so good. They just kind of cruise to a division title. Rod Brind'Amour's still there. They're playing the same kind of hockey. It's all very consistent, as you said, and that just leaves them out of sight, out of mind. So you get to these playoffs, and all of a sudden you got to pay attention to the Hurricanes, and you're like, okay, what are they going to do now that their games are actually worth mattering, and they actually were paying attention to them?
Well, one of the things I think that's very interesting in a feature of this series is both teams at different times this year have had incredible goaltending, and both teams at different times this year have had brutal goaltending. And Canes fans will tell you that. I'm curious about who you give the edge in net to, the team that's hot lately or the team that was hotter overall, which would be the Carolina Hurricanes.
You're putting your playoff life in Linus Ullmark's hands.
And you're putting your playoff life in Brandon Bussy's hands.
Yeah, well, Brandon Bussy, who, by the way, has a 31-6-2 record. His save percentage isn't as preposterous as it was at an .895, but, like, he lost 8 games all year, and a quarter of them, which is to
that
say
was his speed
2.
wobble, by the way.
We're in overtime. So, like, the advantage should go to the goalie who essentially has not lost.
But one of the other guy on the other end is a Vezina Trophy winner.
Vezina Trophy winner with the history of being very poor in the playoffs. If this is a good playoff for Linus Ullmark, it will be his first.
Jesse, do you agree with that take?
It'll be interesting to see what Brind'Amour goes with. Like, is he going to lean on Frederik Andersen?
No,
he's been awful
in the first game.
You can't put Freddie Andersen.
He's been
absolutely,
you don't think there's
absolutely
a
not.
vet wins the net kind of mentality with Rod Brind'Amour?
Bussy just signed that huge extension. There's no way.
I think you know what? You bring up something really important. Brind'Amour and the way he handles the net in this series, I think needs to be delicate, because I think you could justify keeping Bussy on a short leash, but like if you keep flip-flopping and going back and forth this series, before you know it, it's game 5, you're down like 3-1 potentially, and you're about to get completely embarrassed.
Yeah, I can see both goaltenders getting into the series.
for both teams.
Good luck.
Well, no, I'm
No,
a
less so
lot
for the
more
Sens.
confident with the Sens. I don't think Reimer's getting into the series unless there's like some sort of blowout. But I could see Ron Brind'Amour, if one of the goalies falters early, him going to the other guy. But obviously, if they're winning, like, he wouldn't change it. But if they lose, like, I could see both goalies.
It's interesting. But with Ullmark, here's all his playoffs: 860, 896, 886, 880. Dude.
Mm-hmm.
The sample size is not enormous. Like 2 of those runs were 2 games.
Yeah, some of those need context.
2 of them were 6 games, and 1 of them was last year. If the Senators had better goaltending last year, like that went 6 games, it very narrowly avoided a 7.
Yep, it did.
He let them down. He did.
I don't think they lost that series on goaltending.
No,
We
but
watched every second of that series. I don't
and
think that
it's
was
the
kind of a
National
loss.
Hockey League. It's the National Hockey League, and the margins are so slim.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not the better goalie by a wide margin, and it's a big reason why they lost.
On defense, we've got Sanderson, Zub, Shabbat, Spence, Gilbert, Montempallo, and on the other side in Carolina, Slavin, Chatfield, Keandre Miller, Sean Walker, Gostisbehere, and Nikishin. This is that Carolina defense, as great as Ottawa's is, and there's great puck movement back there. I'm not trying to take it away. To me, Jacob Slavin is still all-world shutdown defenseman. And you've got some good puck moving back there, too. To me, the edge has got to be Carolina. Do you guys disagree?
It's Carolina because of the injury question marks in Ottawa.
Okay.
Obviously, Sanderson sustaining an injury. Thomas Shabbat is back, but I have a lot of questions there. It would be a decently even match were it not for all the injuries. I'm not skipping ahead to the forwards. But I'm doing it to highlight a battle that is going to be very important in the first 2 games of this series. Ottawa's going to try to batter that D-core. And there were some players who really impressed me with the Senators last year. Shane Pinto, Dylan Cousins was a dog. Obviously, Brady Tkachuk. Those guys and like some of the annoying depth forwards Ottawa has, they are going to batter the Carolina D for the first couple games.
Jesse, your thoughts. Edge on defense. Who do you give it to?
I think I'm giving the edge on defense to the Ottawa Senators just because of the team defense that they're able to play. I think Travis Green is underrated in his talents and what he's been able to get out of the Senators this season. It's not just the defensemen playing really smart hockey. It's the entire forward group as well, limiting chances on the other end. They are an analytics darling, the Senators are, and they have been for quite a bit now. And I trust that their team defense will hold in the playoffs.
Okay, now at forward. And again, I think, Steve, I think your point about about these Carolina being underrated might be most highlighted when it comes to the forwards. Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, Hall, Stankov, and Blake, Ehlers, Stahl, Martinook, Carrier, Jankowski, Robinson. This is basically the same lineup that went to the playoffs last year without Ehlers.
Without Ehlers, who we have spent 0 minutes and 0 seconds talking about this year, except for his poor start. Ended the season second on the team in scoring, played a healthy 82 games, 26 goals, 71 points. That's a great season. Svechnikov had a slow start too. Ended up with 31 goals and 70 points. Jarvis missed time this year. Jackson Blake is coming into his own.
But one thing they don't have, and this is what's important, I think, in the playoffs, is they don't have size. And this is my concern with the Carolina Hurricanes. Because listen, we all know what they can do, but we all know what happened to them every time they faced a bigger team than them. They come out of their division, they come and they play an Atlantic team, and what happens? They get run over. And it happened against New York 2 years ago when New York went to the conference finals and Carolina didn't. 3 years ago, it was Carolina and Florida. They got run over, and they got run over again last year. The Senators are bigger, and they're meaner.
Well, we know the Tkachuks talk.
Oh, I think they're having a definite discussion about this one.
Here's an interesting factor that we haven't talked about. The Tkachuks, if I'm not mistaken, have never made the playoffs in the same year.
Oh, okay.
And it's usually been Brady following Matthew around in Calgary and in Florida.
What about last year?
Were they? Oh, yeah. I'm an idiot. Sorry. They were in the playoffs briefly, but they were in the playoffs at the same time last year. Will Matthew be going to Brady's games? Brady went to all of his. No, but it's a factor, though, because who's kicked Carolina's ass the last couple years?
The Panthers?
It's been Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew in particular. Matthew beat them nearly single-handed in 23 or 24, where he did that thing where he walked off the ice and got them all. Matthew's been waiting there. It is really unfortunate that Brady's older brother can be like, well, here's all my observations from last year and the years before.
Jesse, do you think that Carolina can stave off the physicality of the Sens? Because they're a tough team.
I'm giving the edge in the 4 group just from a skills standpoint to the Carolina Hurricanes. But I think from a physicality standpoint, I think, you do have tougher players there up and down the lineup in Ottawa. It's going to be a tight battle, I think, with who's going to outscore who. Like, I feel like the margins come down to defense and goaltending.
I do wonder about
offense are pretty close.
I wonder about a guy like Pinto, right? Like staple him to Svechnikov and Aho's line. You know, that he could be a real factor in this series, I think.
I guess it's a little difficult to figure out who to zero in on Carolina because they're so deep.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have any weak links. You just can't have any weak links. That center depth that Jason York talked about on our show a couple years ago, that was too young for them to have real success, has grown. They've come into their own, and now they're formidable.
Jess?
I look at Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis, and Hall, and Stankoven, and Blake, and that's a really good top 6. And it's going to challenge any lineup that you want to put out there. Like, if they try and do the Pinto, Amadio, Cousins line to go at that top line, I think that's a losing battle.
You do, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think just there's too much skill there with that Carolina group to go up against a third line there of Ottawa. But it'll be close. It'll be close.
Glad you mentioned Hall. Keep your head up. That guy's prone to blow-ups in this league. We've seen lots of it throughout his career. Keep your head up.
I will say this: if you are a betting person, take the over on shots in this series.
Yeah,
like this is going to be a wild series. The shot numbers are going to be in.
There's
the
only
70s.
one puck.
I know.
Who
but
wants it?
It's going to be crazy. So let's. I'll give you mine first, and then we'll go to you guys. So I'm going to tell you that I think Ottawa wins this series, and I think they do it in 7 games. And I know Carolina Hurricanes fans are already upset with me, so they're going to be real pissed. But I really believe in this Ottawa team. And here's the other thing: I believe in what they've shown us in the last month. Sometimes you can come into a season. You're supposed to be great, but for whatever reason you're not. And I think about the 2012 Kings all the time. Rolled in the playoffs in 7th, won the cup. I don't think that's out of the realm for the Ottawa Senators here, but this is going to be a real tough series to get through. Let's go to Steve next.
In 7 games, it'll be the Hurricanes.
Okay. Jesse Blake.
The Senators have been on a miracle run for a little bit now. They were literally playing all of their AHL defensemen, and they're still winning games and finding a way to make the playoffs. I think there's a really good team in there, and it starts with Travis Green. And now it looks like for game 1, they'll have Sanderson, Shabbat, and Zub, and Spence, and all of the guys they need in that lineup, and they'll have them for this series. So I'm going to take the Senators in 7 against the Hurricanes.
I like that we all said 7.
Don't forget to fill out your Spark bracket, too, because there's big prizes on the line. Get those in because the playoffs start real soon.
Hey, did you like the thing you just watched?
Was it hilarious?
Was it informative?
Was it me losing my mind?
Possibly. Potentially. Most of the time it is. Hey, listen, if you like what SDPN has to offer, you should check out more of our videos and subscribe to our channel by clicking subscribe, or Steve will find you.